So like growing up, I was always fascinated with buildings, and I come from a family which are into property. So that's something, like I've always been around. And yeah, so I didn't want to do architecture, which was too artsy for me, and I didn't want to do civil engineering, which was too technical. So I thought, oh, okay, urban planning it is. It sounded very interesting, and it had an element of urban planning at a macro level. It had a bit of real estate, project management, and development. Yeah, so that's how urban planning was it. So basically, I was working or doing an internship for a Solid Space, which is a small and medium-sized house builder based in London Bridge. And my job was to go look for sites, make sure the numbers make sense, there's a planning permission, the site has a potential to develop. And we would find quite a lot of these sites, but the developer couldn't get funding for it. And that's when it really bothered me. If it's a good site, this probably entrepreneur has a track record, why not able to get funding from a mainstream lender? And that's where the whole idea of FutureBricks came, that small and medium-sized house builders are not getting access to mainstream finance. And if you can make that available, and at the same time, if anyone can invest, like such as retail customers, such as you and me, and make it accessible to them. So, you're making this market accessible to retail customers. At the same time, you're making finance available to SME property entrepreneurs. I would say, like growing up, again, I was obsessed with reading autobiographies of entrepreneurs, from Richard Branson to Kiran Rozumdar Shaha. Like I've read all autobiographies of all the entrepreneurs from different industry, retail, B2B, B2C, you name it. And I just love the fact that you can dictate your own journey, you can take the direction and create something out of nothing, and create a lot of value in that journey itself. So it really inspired me, and I thought I could nothing but an entrepreneur. That's all I wanted to be. Yeah, I think real funds gave, like, so Robin, you mentioned my classmate. So we both were doing, studying urban planning from UCL, and he was also entrepreneur. I was also entrepreneur. We're like, okay, why don't we do something? Why don't we solve a problem? So actually, first day was our first entrepreneurial endeavor, where we were like trying to find properties and rent it to international students, because it's very hard for international student to rent a property in London, because you need a guarantor, and there are a lot of hurdles. So we're trying to get that. So that was first entrepreneurial. Then real estate crowdfunding, real funds eventually turned into FutureBricks with the current name. Yeah, so we actually went live a couple of months ago, last year. But as a company, we have raised £500,000 of equity funding, with which we build the technology. We've got the app and the platform, which enables the fundraising. And then we've got under an FC umbrella for the regulatory requirements. And then when we went live, so we have done projects. We have funded £300,000. That projects itself have created, we have given returns of between 6 and 12% to retail customers, and unlocked the funding for these SME house builders, which they wouldn't otherwise have. Yeah, it was hard. Like first 1.5 years was extremely challenging, because you can imagine I was right out of uni, 23-year-old girl, young female migrant, getting into an industry of property development and lending. So like a lot of, I must have met 300-400 people from LinkedIn. I had to build the teams from scratch. This kind of business needs a lot of capital upfront, like for regulatory purposes, and to build the technology, and even to start trading. So I had to raise equity from scratch, build the team, get the expertise in this segment, because it's quite niche. So there are some people who laughed, who didn't take me seriously, and like they had questions like, like, do you even know what you're doing? You're not from here, So a lot of skeptics and challenges in the beginning, but over time, I think through persistence, raising little money here and then doing an MVP, then getting more and more, and like this is how we've come to this stage. Yeah, but yeah, first 1 year was challenging, but now it's nice to look back and see that it just made you more resilient, and it shows that the industry is still male dominated, especially property development, especially SME house building industry. There are almost no women. At least technology and finance is improving, but property development, you will not find a single, and from both the sides, unfortunately, from lending side as well, very few female lenders in the industry, as well as almost none property entrepreneurs as females. Not really, because it's, of course, it's very flattering and nice to be recognized for the work you're doing and the hard work, and but I think it's a part of getting a good attention, which then you can use towards business. But when it comes to business, these things really don't affect making a decision, because at the end of the day, you as an entrepreneur, you really know what's the bottom line and where you need to go ahead. So no, they don't really affect that much. I think just be resilient, I think persistence. Like, people will tell you, no, we must have got like 50 to 100 investors initially, like equity investors who rejected, they didn't think I could pull it off. So I think, going through those hurdles or getting your first customer, and we're a marketplace platform, so you need to get customers. So anything, whether it's your first deal or the first time you make money or you get an equity investment for your business, I think all of those things are extremely hard. I think so I think it's just resilience, just keep going. It's just the noise, but listen to yourself and just keep going. That's the best advice, yeah.